Well, just followed online.
Follow down line?
Online.
Follow online.
Yeah, so like
guided
meditations, yeah. Or just like on our own, we just like sit and we like to do like, because we're roommates, we live together,
you meditate together at the same time?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's more powerful, right? You notice that?
Yeah, the energy.
Yeah. I think the best analogy I've heard yet about like the group of people getting together meditating is the analogy or the metaphor of if you have one pencil in your hand, you can easily break it, but if you have 10 pencils, you can't. It's that same thing. It's something happens in the room where it's easier for everyone to hold their concentration because you all have similar purpose, I guess. And it can be more difficult, I guess, if there's someone in the room that doesn't agree. Yeah. Won't sit still or something. We rolling? That look good? Well, looking good? So how was everybody's week? Well, let's go around. Let's go around with names. 2 new people here for the first time. So let's. I'm John.
Christine. Mishi.
Julia.
Wesley.
I'm Jan.
I'm Amber.
I'm Jennifer.
Choice.
Awesome. So, did anyone have fun with the meditations from last week? Did you try them during the week? Some nodding, yeah. Anything you want to share about that, or anything you noticed, or you don't have to. Yeah, if you'd like to.
I think that what's new for me is like the movement of awareness, like throughout the body, like focusing on moving that energy spot around, and it's becoming sort of easier to do. And,
Yeah.
More responsive.
More responsive, yeah. So you feel like your machine's getting easier to handle.
That's
right?
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? It's effective, right? It's effective. It's an effective way to get your mind to move around and to notice what happens when you put your attention somewhere. Because the energy, the prana, the chi, or however you want to put it, right? Some people call it universal energy, some people call it prana, winds. It's very connected to your thoughts. They're actually inseparable. So when you think of an area, naturally, energy goes there. So how's everybody doing?
Amazing.
Amazing. How does that feel when someone asks you that question? How's it going? How you doing? I don't know. Sometimes I know people can get this way where it gets like instantly there's a defensiveness or something. Right? It can be like especially if we haven't worked out our stuff yet. Right? Then it's like something's on the line. Right? How you doing? All of a sudden it's like it's a test. Right? Well, I don't know if I want to tell you how it's going, right? Yeah, because we're so, I don't know, it's like our happiness or something is so dependent, it can be so dependent on how we think we're doing or something, and we don't actually know. Right? You don't really know how you're doing until you get to a certain place, right? And you hit this meditative platform, and then you kind of burst through a certain door, then you're always good. But until then, you're kind of you're everything you're doing is a constant journey towards that place. So you're kind of always doing good, even when it doesn't really seem like you are. You actually are. If you're sitting in this room, I think you're probably always doing good. But it's the things that we don't pay attention to. Like, how you doing? All of a sudden, it's like, wow. Like I don't really want to share that. I don't really want to tell you the true version of that, because I think it's because we fail to recognize that we're all in the same boat, and we fail to recognize that everyone is trying as equally as hard, and everyone is failing as equally as much. And everyone is like in competition with their own self equally as much. And then so it's refreshing if someone says, amazing, and they mean it, or they say, actually I'm doing kind of crappy right now, and they mean it, right? And it's because we've all been both. We've all been both. And that's one of the beauties of doing the kinds of meditations that we're doing, because you can gain that that kind of passive witness to your own process, and then you can gain that understanding that it's not that it's not you, it's not the ultimate you. It's just a thing that comes, hello.
Hi, sorry we're a bit late.
That's all right. It's okay. Just happy that you're here.
Huh?
Just happy that you're here.
Me too.
And we haven't meditated yet either, so.
Good.
If we can gain that space between how we experience our process, then we can have empathy and compassion towards others as they go through their own thing, because we've gained enough freedom with our own, right? We've gained enough sort of humor, I guess, humor about it. Gotta do names again. So we did names because so this is 4 new people now, so in tonight. So I'm John.
I'm Jeannie.
Hi Jeannie.
I'm Patty.
Hi Patty. Jeannie, Patty.
I'm Amber.
I'm Jennifer.
You're next.
Mishi.
Christine.
Yulia.
Wesley. Jan.
Oh
So
no.
another-
Yeah.
We're just doing names tonight. Is there somebody here? Okay, yeah. So the last class, hello. We'll do names again. We got to do names. This will be the 3rd round of doing names because we've had people coming in. So actually, we should all know the names by now. So this will be 3 times. Well, except for the new people. Right?
I'm Melissa.
Melissa. Hi, Melissa.
I'm
I'm
Melissa.
John. Melissa.
Christine. Mishi.
Yulia.
Wesley. Jan.
Jeannie.
Amber.
Jennifer.
Patty.
Choice.
All right. Hot potato. Great. I was just doing a brief little talk about how it is that we can get uncomfortable when we get asked how you're doing. Hi, how you doing? But it can be a kind of a telltale, sign about like your state of mind or how it is that, because if we're grasping to a self, like a certain self that we wish to be, then if we're grasping to a certain self that we wish to be, then we're not that. And that is like, that has discontentment all over it. So when someone says, how are you doing? And in that moment, you wish that you were different, then you're not that. And sometimes we don't want to admit that. Right? We want to say, yeah, I'm doing good. And inside is this voice sort of saying, and that doesn't have to be the end of the story. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You can reach a place where somebody asks you how you're doing. You're like, amazing, unbelievable, totally surprisingly amazing. I can't even believe how amazing I'm doing. Couldn't have imagined it, right? And when you ask someone how they're doing, you're really interested. You're genuinely really interested in how the heck they're doing. Because your heart is open. Because your heart is open. And to get to a place like that we can walk around and in acceptance of whatever it is that we are at the moment, because that's, if you do the math on what we are in the moment, if if you can think of one thing in your world, like, can you think of one thing in your reality, place, person, thing, that you're not imputing meaning onto? Like, what exists that you don't know about? Is there anything that you can say that comes before you that you're making a decision about, that you're not making a decision about? And that's how there are 4, 8, 10. That's how there are 12 universes in this room right now.
I'm a Gemini, it's multiple.
Oh, it's multiple. Okay, there's 13.
I'm a Gemini too.
Oh God, there's 14. There's 14 universes in here right now. Right? Because everything that we see, we're deciding, like, nice plant, ugly plant, nice person, beautiful person, ugly person, right? Or anything that you may think to imagine, right? So that's you, right? That's you. Your world is you. Because that's what you see. And every single day it looks different, right? You're in a good mood, everything's great. You're in a bad mood and it's like everything's irritating. It's, you're doing the same stuff. So the goal here, the goal of meditation, one of the goals of meditation, is to learn to recognize that fact, in that that's what we're doing all the time. We are labeling our world constantly. But not only that, it's far-reaching, but it's so close. It's closer. We're also labeling ourselves constantly, and we're always changing. And in and around that are feelings, physical feelings, emotions, and we have these physical feelings, we have these emotions that we kind of correspond or correlate to the things that we're looking at. And we think that the things we're looking at is what's causing those things, because we haven't meditated enough to actually realize that that's not true. It's the other way around. And the feelings that we're having, whether they're physical sensations or whether they're emotions, don't in and of themselves have to have anything to do with the objects that we're seeing. And the trick is to unlock that secret, to gain freedom from a certain kind of attachment to the world and all its contents. And guess what? You're one of its contents. You are also that. And so the whole point of what we're going to do in a few minutes here and onward is to go through this process of step by step trying to take apart those misconceptions. And if we can take apart those misconceptions really, really close to home, then by the nature of that, then it must translate out into the world. If we can let go of this certain self that we think that we want to be or are grasping to as some kind of permanent thing, this some kind of unchanging essence that needs a certain something to survive or be happy. If we can get that close and break that down, then there really isn't anything in the world that can afflict us. You know? And by afflict us, I mean destroy your peace of mind. Because you can have awesome peace of mind and be sad about something, or be upset about something, or not like something, or really like something. And you can have all those beautiful experiences and have a beautiful, steady peace of mind, because you've gained an understanding about how your reality is presenting itself to you. So, how do we do that? Well, we definitely cannot accomplish that by just continuing to run around in the world and try to make the world work out. Because that doesn't work. To make the outside world fit our needs, right? To make the outside world try to look like a place that is supplying us happiness. People have been trying that for, eons. It hasn't worked yet. So, it's not. Maybe you're probably not going to be the first person. It's doubtful that maybe you'll be the first person in the history of the universe that's managed to make the world be the thing that is the source of our happiness, of your happiness, right? It's always the other way around, right? You bring your happiness to the world. So, yeah. And last week we did this meditation where we went through our body in a nice way, and we were feeling the elements of experience, right? A physical experience. Earth, what was it? Earth, fire, water, air, right? Like those kinds of things, right? Earth, heavy, right? Water, moisture, heat, the whole. And interesting that heat, you think heat, but heat is temperature, right? Cold to hot. It's the whole experience of cold to hot. And air is like movement, right? And we asked ourselves, is this feeling permanent or is it impermanent? Is it changing or unchanging? So now we're going to do the same meditation, but we're going to add 2 more questions to it. We're going to add, is this experience I'm having happiness? Is there happiness here? Or is there dissatisfaction here? And then we'll ask ourselves, if we get to it, I think we probably will, does it involve a self? Right? Is there a self needed to experience this? Does it prove a self? Something like that. And that's the fun and tricky ride, is trying to find, me. Me. What is that thing exactly? And that's like the ultimate quest, is to find that thing, that unfindable, mysterious thing. And you can find a version of that is very, very surprising. And it becomes something that is also very, very surprising. And probably not what you think. So let's go into meditation. And this meditation you can do sitting up, or you can do it lying down on a yoga mat. If there aren't enough yoga mats, we have lots here. You can do it in a chair, feet on the ground, sitting in meditation posture, or lying down in Shavasana or relaxation pose. Whichever you choose to do is going to be perfect.
Chair today.
We got lots.
What's that? Did I miss something? Oh yeah, the door. Yeah, great idea. So if you're lying down, you want to be nice and comfortable. If you think it might be helpful to have a bolster underneath your knees, just raise your hand and someone will bring a bolster over for you. If you got like lower back stuff. Okay. So it's nice to have your feet just relaxed, splayed out naturally, have your palms facing up with your backs of your hands on the ground, nice and open and relaxed, if that's comfortable. You can rock your head from side to side a little bit and try and find the place that feels like it's the center. If you're sitting, take a moment to breathe in deeply and use that inhale to draw some length in your spine so your crown is reaching towards the sky. And then on your exhale, keeping that sense of being lifted in the heart and through the crown as you relax the shoulders on an exhale. And we're going to begin to start noticing the physical sensations. So let your mind rest, releasing fantasies of the future, memories of the past, and focus only on this single sense, the sense of touch. The feeling of solidity and firmness where your body is contacting the ground or the seat. At first, using that sensation as an anchor for your mind. One of the great benefits of doing a meditation on the domain of the body is that the body is in the now. It doesn't really have a choice. So you can use that to bring your mind into now by giving the domain of your body your full attention. Feeling the weight of your hands on your lap or on the earth. The place where they meet. And focusing on the sensation alone. And some of you have been doing this for a while already, so you already know. And for the people that are new, this will be new. And for the people that aren't, this will be a reminder. And that is that your default response should be to any mental picture that arises, any conceptual overlay that you notice that is attached to the simple physical feeling. Discard that mental image on the exhale. And then use the inhale to reignite your focus on the felt. In the felt, there is only the felt. And so the challenge is to continuously let go of associations with that feeling and simply be with the bare and raw feeling. And it can be very illuminating to see the thought patterns, the mental images that are associated with that feeling. And in a very relaxed way, using the exhale to discard them. Using the inhale to bring your focus back to the feeling. So you're really trying to distinguish in your experience, is this a feeling of the sense of touch? Is this a tactile sensation only? Or am I navigating with a mental image of my body? Giving this earth element, this feeling of solidity, firmness, giving it your full, bare attention. And then we ask ourselves a question about this tactile sensation, this earth element. Is there anything in this experience that is saying happiness? Is there a happiness in this experience? Is there dissatisfaction in this experience? You're just checking. It's not a test. There doesn't have to be happiness. There doesn't have to not be happiness or satisfaction. You're simply noticing. Would I call this happiness? Would I call this dissatisfaction? Now let's switch the element, moving on to moisture, moving on to water element. So discarding any mental overlay and give your whole focus to the tactile sensation of moisture. As you take a few moments to investigate, discover these feelings of moisture, maybe the subtle moisture in your eyes, in your mouth. You may have a subtle feeling of fluids moving in your body. On the exhale, discarding the mental association of pictures, the overlay, if there is any. And asking yourself, is happiness here? Is this where my happiness is? Is it my dissatisfaction? Is there dissatisfaction inherent in these feelings of moisture? Now switch your object from moisture to the element of fire. And this is simply temperature. The entire scope of hot to cold. And in the felt is only the felt. So simply trying to feel heat, coolness, warmth. And asking that same question. Is this where my happiness is? Is happiness in these feelings of temperature? Is dissatisfaction here? Switching again, tuning your focus into the air element. This will include coarse sensations of movement, like the breath as it enters and leaves your body. And also the subtle feelings like tingling sensations, itches, vibrations. All of these are manifestations of air element. You could pick one of these kinds of sensations. Always doing your best to give it your raw focus, bare attention, exhaling any mental overlay, and seeing. Would I call this happiness? Is this happiness? This feeling? Is it unhappiness? Is this where my happiness is, or my unhappiness? And within the space of your body, can you directly perceive any kind of tactile sensation, a sensation of touch, a physical sensation that is other than those feelings of solidity, firmness, moisture, heat, cold, movement? Is there other sensations other than that? Let's draw ourselves back to the earth element again. Now our mind is sifted more in the now, body's more relaxed, feeling that firmness where the body is connected, the weight of the body against the earth, against the chair, that feeling of the two combined. And if you notice, it's just one feeling. But if you, on the exhale, discard the mental image of floor and body, chair meets body, and just feel the sensation in that area. And we ask ourselves another question. Is this where I would find a self? Is my self here? Do I relate to this as a me? Is a me required? Is a self required? Does it prove a self? This feeling of earth element. Shift your focus again. This time, water element, moisture, saliva, fluid, any feeling of moist. Is that where your self is? Is there a self inherent? In this feeling? Does it prove a self? Switching to fire element. Taking your bare attention, finding the sensation of temperature, heat or cold. In the felt, there was only the felt. Discarding any story around that sensation on the exhale. Any picture of a mental map of your body associated with that feeling, and simply feel feeling. And then ask yourself, does a self reside here? Is this where the self is? Does this prove an existence of a self? Shifting to air element. That sense of movement. Tingling sensations. Just feeling them. Not making a judgment either way on what it is that they are, discarding that and simply feeling them. And then asking yourself that question. Is this where the self arises from? Is this what I would call a self? And then before we come out of meditation, we do one final analysis. We ask ourselves, is there any other sensation besides earth, solidity, moisture, fire, movement, air? In the physical sense, felt, the touch. Is there anywhere in the domain of our body that we can say that it's permanent? That it's not changing from moment to moment? Is there anywhere that we can say, oh, this is happiness. This is my lasting happiness here. Oh, no, this is my dissatisfaction. This is my satisfaction. This is my dissatisfaction. Well, this is a self. This is myself. And then simply rest the mind in that feeling, just a general relaxation, and enjoying the physical sensation. We're going to slowly come back. Slowly come back to the domain of the room. Wiggling the toes and the fingers. It's always good to open the eyes very slightly. And see that if you can maintain this inner space and not leap out and suddenly be in and all over the room, but can you come back and at least for a while have this, you can use the image of something in you is lighting the room, like coming out of your eyes and perceiving the room. So you can do that by taking in more and more of the room as you open your eyes slowly and trying to remain in contact with something that is, you would call your center, or some kind of line that maybe you could associate with that would be your center line. And maybe you can have part of your mind resting there as another part of your mind begins to take in the room. And then you come back gently with a sense of wonder. Slowly doing what you need to do to shake out your legs or arms. Walking from side to side, and it might be a nice time to stretch. You can inhale and reach your toes away from your fingers. Release on the exhale. And then we'll slowly, gently come back to sitting and Was that relaxing? Anybody want to make any comment on what they experienced, or any surprising thing that happened, or anything they want to share, or question you'd like to ask about what we just did?
I found myself kind of popping somewhere else and like felt myself come back.
Yeah.
To hearing you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like split second. Happened to a few times.
Right. So like my voice would somehow bring you back,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd like be gone for a second. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of that process of training our minds, right? It's like coming back is like training ourselves to stay. You know? It can in the beginning and in the middle. Not so much near the end, but in the beginning and in the middle, and maybe even 3/4. It can be difficult sometimes to not have that experience, just like, you know, beyond your control, and you're just gone, right? You just, and you don't really know until you come back. Right? Just come back, and one of the goals of this kind of practice is to eventually be able to hold your focus on something for as long as you really want to, as long as you want to. It's a very powerful experience to be able to actually take the whole focus of your mind, which is a very powerful thing. The entire focus of your mind. Most of us, a lot of our lives, don't really use our whole mind to focus on anything ever, right? You know, except for maybe a few people, you know, who that naturally do that. Maybe they're not meditating, but they're becoming a concert pianist, or, you know, something where it takes a lot of mental effort, you know. And I think we've all had moments of that, you know. If you're doing some kind of artistic thing, or it doesn't have to be artistic even, just it could be in the lab, where you're so into what you're doing, you know, you're so focused on what you're doing that everything is there. And in those times, those can be some beautiful times where you've forgotten about yourself for a while, and yet you're there. You're still having an experience of yourself, but not a painful one, right? So it can be a monumental achievement to be able to sit with your conscious focus and focus on something for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, you know. Eventually they say, okay, yeah, you can do 4 hours, no problem. But for our purposes, even an hour, you don't even need to reach an hour. For our purposes, even if you could reach, I'd say, 35, 40 minutes. Like if you could reach that level of being able to sustain your focus for that long, you could break your cycle of suffering. You could break it. You could break it right now, because you would have enough power to have enough analytical power in those times to disassociate your happiness or unhappiness with the things that are always coming and going, like physical feelings, emotions, things that we attain in the world. You know, they can't last. Right? They can't last. It has to be. It has to be in here. It has to be inside. Because when you get good at recognizing where your happiness isn't, then it can be scary to be around someone who's like happy for a reason. I mean, for you know, hey, this thing's going on. I got this great stuff happening right now. This is awesome, and they're all like stoked up, right? And if you've meditated a lot, you know that it's going to end. You're looking at, like, it's almost like a threat. You're looking at something that's about to end, and all their winds, all their prana is like racing, and it's involving something that is impermanent. And the goal here is to get beyond that, where you can have that exact experience and have the same kind of joy, but the joy is there before it even happened. Like you brought your joy to the situation, and you can enjoy it. And then when the thing ends, when the project ends, when the song ends, your joy remains. Your love remains. Or if it's something painful, that you can still have peace of mind, even if it's something painful, and your peace of mind remains after some kind of thing you've associated with to be painful has gone, right? And the trick also is to notice how it is that we can become addicted to these feelings, or these transient feelings, where this wanting, or this not wanting, that we can become so used to the sensation of desiring something, or longing for something, that we can not even imagine that ever ending. Whereas well, what if the longing was gone? What if I ever reached my goal? What then? And then that can become kind of an obstacle. But how we're going to do another meditation very soon, where we investigate those kinds of things, where we can free ourselves from those kinds of feelings of grasping at a person to make us happy, or grasping at a feeling that we want to make us happy, by simply going to the feeling itself. It changes, it's a real game changer. As soon as you pull the story away from the object and go right to the feeling that you're having about the object, like how far will you go to get something? There's what will you sign? I had someone today. I was working, and I was I had the good fortune of getting to go shopping for my job today. I had to go find some door sweeps, and I was getting paid by the hour to walk around and shop. And in that period of time, someone approached me and they wanted to give me a credit card. Right? And it was, I don't know, it was a Canadian Tire, MasterCard. Of course, they first it's got all the points and all the benefits, right? And I'm like, well, I don't need a credit card. I don't need a credit card. But she wouldn't leave me alone. She's like, really wanting me to have this thing, I guess. And a good thing to do with those kinds of things is what happens in your body, in your mind? What do you think? What do you think you're going to get from having a card that? They're not giving you anything. They're giving you the potential to go into debt. Well, why do we want it? right? What is it? So, what is the feeling? You go to the feeling, you know, the possibility, right? Hey, wait a minute. Are you telling me that I suddenly have $3,000 more dollars? That's really what it looks like, doesn't it? Yeah, I have $3,000 more dollars available to me. It's not mine.
It's a feeling of power too.
Yes.
Buying power.
Yeah. A feeling of power. Yeah, I can, if I want to, I can. You know, and it's such a crazy illusion, right? Okay, yeah, this thing's on sale. I have to buy it because it's on sale for 50% off. I'd be crazy. I'm saving $100 by buying this thing. that I wouldn't have bought if it wasn't on sale. But I need it now because I'm putting $100 in my pocket by spending 100. And I'm going to use this credit card. It's only 19% interest to buy this thing. And then I'm going to pay my minimum payment only. And then 2 years from now, I still really haven't paid for it. So really, you know, what have I done? Yeah, it was on sale for half price, but by the time it's paid for, you know, I paid it 400% over. You know, yeah, thanks for the sale. Thanks for the sale. I'm going to spend $400 for this $50 jacket. And it'll take me 3 years to pay it. Right? But, give it to me. Right? Yeah, okay, I'll do it. You know, yeah, give it to me. Why? See, no, it is that, it's the fundamental mistaken idea that somehow this thing has some kind of radiant ability to give me happiness. And I will bloody well do anything for it. And one of those things that I will do for this thing that's going to give me happiness, for a small period of time, because I'm going to be bored of it pretty quick, I will work hours and hours and hours at my job to make payments, long after it's gone, in fact. You know, I will sacrifice the only thing that I have that is of any real value to me, and that is time. In order to have what my idea of an hour of happiness. And I will forfeit hours. It's no problem. Sure, where do I sign? That's how thick we are with thinking, right? And so the direct reverse of that is just, you know, thinking that there are things in the world that have the opposite power, right? Make me unhappy. Make me unhappy. If I can get away from, if I can just get out of this relationship, you know, that I was dying to get into. I was dying to get into this relationship. Yeah, wow, it was, you know, she made me so happy. He made me so happy. And then what happened? Man, I can't get out now. But this person's making me miserable. Right? It was never the other person. And so when we, you know, argue about those things, you know, what should I do? Should I leave? Should I stay? You know, should I buy this? Should I not buy this? Should I take this job? Should I take that job? And if we have the feeling like, well, those things are going to be the things that either guarantee my happiness or guarantee that I can avoid unhappiness, then we're just talking and arguing about a pointless thing, because it's not going to work out. So the entire, like, if you see the world that way, like, you know, war and the whole, it's all based on this idea that you have something that is going to make me happy. So, you know, I will do what I need to get it. And if I have to jump out of an airplane and kill some people, I'll do that. Because, you know, and it's a, so we make the mistake of thinking that happiness is coming this way instead of this way. This way. And that's the beauty of these kinds of meditations, because we're analytically looking at your direct experience, right? As, is my happiness here? Is the me here? So it's habituating to that, so that as you walk through the world, you've already sort of dissected it. Well, it can't, you know, the world can't pull you anymore because you figured it out close enough to home. And you figured out that you're relating to everything. You're the one that's giving meaning to things. It's that close to home. And so then you can walk through and not have your mental experience be a roller coaster, right? You can get off the roller coaster. You can go on a roller coaster. You can go to the P&E and have fun. It doesn't have to be a mental roller coaster. Yeah. So we're going to do another meditation. And we'll do a little investigation of those kinds of things, right? Positive feelings, neutral feelings, and negative feelings, and see if we can do an experiment to, if we can find out where we're associating those things, whether our happiness or unhappiness is directly associated or could be directly inherent in these things that we will explore. So if you need to stand up, maybe stand up and give a little shake or something like that, and then go back into meditation. And the option always, you can lie down or you can sit up. Whichever you feel would be the most benefit for you right now. Taking some time to get comfortable. turning inward. Settling the body. It wasn't long ago that we did a very relaxing body meditation, so you can fall back into that space. Shouldn't be too far away. Let the breath be natural. For a little bit of time, settle your awareness in the space of the body, using the feeling of this body to bring your mind in to now. Ease, inner stillness, watchfulness, like a good listener. Sometimes I like to think that I'm in the middle of a forest or something, and I'm trying to hear all the little creatures moving. And I have to be so still. I have to be still enough to let the forest return to its natural rhythm, so that I can hear what it sounds like when I'm not there. So that takes some relaxation. That takes some eagerness to hear. So you have this attentiveness. And because the forest is a place of nature, it can sense if you're tense or if you want something unnatural. So you blend in and relax, so the natural environment can be shown to you, as if you weren't even there. Focus just on physical sense now. The feeling of the breath passing. The warmth in your body. The solidity of your body. And now that we've grounded ourselves, try to be a witness to whatever is arising in your mental domain. If you're drawn to a sound or a visual impression or a tactile sensation arising in the moment, just be wholly present with it. If your mind is drawn to a sound, try to simply hear the sound. Take in the sound. And see if you can exhale the mental picture associated with it, but just experience the sound itself. So now whatever is arising for you now, we're going to begin to closely examine feelings, pleasure, pain, and indifference that appear alongside these sensations. Feelings that arise in response to visual impressions, smells, and tastes are often fairly neutral and difficult to engage in as an object. But sounds and tactile sensations are more likely to generate feelings. What feelings of pleasure, displeasure, or indifference arise in relation to these sensations? If you feel any inclination to move while focusing on the field of physical sensation, it is important here that you don't automatically, on first impulse, move. Instead, catch the feeling. Catch the feeling that arouses the desire to move, the intention to move. That may be an unpleasant feeling. Maybe it's a pleasant feeling. Simply observe this feeling and letting your body remain as still as a mountain. Feelings may arise in response to various sensations in the body. Some areas might feel comfortable, giving rise to a mild sense of pleasure. Some areas might arouse a sense of indifference. But other areas of the body, perhaps discomfort and maybe even physical pain may arise. Carefully inspect these feelings. Instead of habitually identifying with the pain and reacting with evasive maneuvers. Closely observe the very nature of the feeling itself. Inspect it to see whether it's identical to the tactile sensation or a way of experiencing and responding to the sensation. Can you catch the relationship between the sensory appearance and the associated feeling? As feelings arise in relationship to the senses, observe how they arise. What is this process? How is it born? And once it is born and present, can we watch it carefully? And how does it abide? How does it dissolve? Are these feelings about which we care so much stable, or are they fluctuating? Is there anything in the nature of feelings to indicate that they are by nature I, me, or mine? Or are they simply events arising within the sphere of physical sensation, the sense of auditory sensation or visual sensation? And then when you're associating with a feeling, you can watch all the versions of yourself which may be coming and going. And consider that this is happening in the daytime as well, as we go through our day. We just fail to notice. If we do fail to notice. And in our daily schedule, we don't have the space or the time to investigate how we are associating our feelings, positive, negative, or neutral, to these things and mistaking the object itself for the source of these feelings. So slowly coming back to surface, wiggling the toes and fingers, again, doing your best to keep that centered feeling as if you're going to open from the inside out, but stay on the inside, like instead of opening your eyes to allow the room to come in, you're opening your eyes to let the light of you meet the room. And then reaching the, if you're lying down, feel like stretching, reaching the hands away from the toes, stretching on the inhale. And nice exhale, releasing. And taking your time to come back to sitting. Anybody want to share anything about that? Anybody notice anything that was jumped up or they wanted to like to share or ask? And it's 9 o'clock, Jan, and we're not gonna. I mean, we're gonna end very, very shortly.
Okay.
What's your?
If I get out of here by 9, 10,
Yeah, we're not gonna go that long.
Still safe.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about the 8 worldly thoughts in relation to this practice?
That's a good question. The 8 worldly thoughts. What a beautiful thing. So there's probably a few of you in this room who know what the 8 worldly thoughts are, and probably a few of you don't. But in Tibetan Buddhism, there's this thing called the 8 worldly thoughts, and it's a way of checking in to see where your mind, how your mind is associating with whatever you're experiencing, right? And inside these 8 worldly thoughts, you will find every associated sort of afflicted state that you could possibly be in. That you can. So, for instance, the first 2 are: I'm happy because I feel good. I'm unhappy because I don't feel good. And then another one is, I'm happy because someone said something nice to me, or I'm unhappy because someone said something unpleasant to me. And then there's, I'm happy because I'm well known, people know me, I'm like famous, I'm known, or I'm unhappy because no one knows me. And then, well, kind of the top of the list really is, I'm happy because I'm getting what I want. I'm getting something that I want. Or I'm unhappy because I'm not getting something that I want. And that's a great tool to have. You know, and you can check. So if you have a meditation practice and you're meditating on a regular basis, you can gain the ability to start noticing, you know, when you're upset about something, and you can say, well, wow, you know, wow, I'm just upset because I didn't get what I wanted. And is that a lasting thing? Is that, you know, is it worth me like getting all buggled up about? No, it's like some kind of transient thing. And it's not like my happiness could come from that thing, or am I, or do I have all my, like I was saying before, do I have all my happiness associated with this thing that I want to buy or that I want to get? Or this vacation that I think I'm going to take or I need to take. But if we can use those kinds of ideas or those kinds of thoughts so that you then gain some kind of equanimity sort of across the board, an equilibrium across the board, where whether you're getting what you want in a sense or not getting what you want, or whether you're known or whether you're unknown, you can go through a day and you can have all of them. You can go through, a person can go through a single day, no problem, and go through all those. Happy because I got what I wanted, unhappy because I didn't get what I wanted. Maybe that's at 10 o'clock, Happy because I feel good. Oh, I'm unhappy because I don't feel good. Maybe it's at 11 o'clock, right? Oh, happy because I'm well known. Walk into the office, hey John, how's it going? Good, Oh, and then, but nobody said goodbye to me when I left. And then, what's the other one? Oh yeah, happy because the boss said, "Good work, John. Good work. You did good today." Or unhappy because the boss said, "I got a phone call on that thing that you did the other day, and you kind of screwed that up." Then you feel bad, and so these kinds of meditations we can learn to disassociate the self that we think we are with those 8 worldly thoughts, because you can pick up on that and notice that for most of us, our entire mode of operation is revolving around trying to either get away from or fulfill those 8 things, which is, it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, we're only here for an hour and a half, and we meditated for more than half of it, really, what you need to do is you need to meditate. You need to meditate, and you need to do it every day, to gain some kind of power, some power. And it takes a bit of time, you have to log in the hours, you have to log in the time. You can get great results in 6 months. In 6 months, if you meditated every day, your life would be different. See you, Jan. Wonderful to see you. And the beauty of it is it snowballs on itself. So if you do it in 6 months and you continue, it's just you're putting causes into place in your mind stream, and you're creating a world for yourself that you're imputing the meaning onto to be a very, very wonderful place to be. And you can become like a blessing to the world by sorting out those things in your mind that we grasp to. So that's enough for tonight, I think. If anybody, I know there's some new people, if anybody would like the meditations audio sent to you via email, we can do that. I'll make sure those get to you. And the class was recorded? Is that also possible? Does that get put somewhere? Okay, so we can, if you'd like the class, and there means you can pass it around. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you, that was great.
Yeah.
Why do I find it so much easier to stay focused when I hear your voice guiding me? as opposed to being left all to myself, watching the clock, wondering it's.
Yeah, I know. You know, it takes practice, and then you know, if a person doesn't have a regular meditation practice, in the beginning, it's good enough to be starting with very short increments of time. You know, very short, in fact, like 5 minutes. And the recipe for success is if you commit to doing it daily. And you do 5 minutes for 7 days. And then you add a minute. And then you do it like that. And you'll find 3 or 4 months down the road, you're sitting quite easily and quite readily focusing your mind without it jumping around. But if we try to just like, you know, sit down, I'm gonna do this for an hour, by God, right? It's just, all we're doing is we're just beating ourselves up. We're just setting ourselves up for like, well, I can't meditate. I'm never gonna get to meditate. This is so hard. Right? And this is what we do to ourselves. So we start small, and maybe 5 minutes is too small. Maybe that's maybe 10 minutes, or maybe 15 minutes is short enough. And then you find your baseline. Okay, 15 minutes, that was a long time. Then you maybe drop down to 10, and then you slowly build. And the idea is that you do like the guided meditation, but it cannot have the result that you desire until you don't need the audio. You have to be able to romp on those grounds alone. Yeah, and find your way around, because that's where the magic is. The magic is self-exploration without somebody's, voice. But the voice is good. The voice is good to get you there. Yeah.
Right.
Is that good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Good. Anybody else want to ask anything or say anything before we?
Oh, for the people that are new, you probably don't know, but there's going to be a retreat on this at the end of February. There'll be a urban retreat, so we're going to hold it here for over the weekend, and then if you want to extend, we're going to go out to this beautiful place in Maple Ridge Loon Lake and stay for a whole week. And we did it last year, and it was really fun to do it with a group of people. So if you want to know more about that, there's flyers up there. I'll make sure they're on the top.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is all. Yeah. It's all leading up to that. It's really awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for popping in.
I know.